In case you've somehow missed the banner ads, the trailers, the billboards, the buses, the cafe, the museum, and the display on the world's tallest building, Riot Games has just put out a new show. It's called Arcane, produced by Riot Games and Studio Fortiche. The series takes a deep dive into the magical world of Runeterra, a world filled with magic, science, and a 5v5 blood sport so fiercely dedicated to fairness that the celestial space dragon that literally created the sun can be taken down by a mutant sewer rat with a crossbow. For a bit of background into the series, Arcane takes place in two major cities, the city of Piltover and the city of Zaun, with Zaun being a dirty, chemically polluted city nearly overrun by crime that is mostly underground, while the self-proclaimed city of Progress, Piltover, is a bastion of intelligence, innovation, and enlightenment, built quite literally on top of Zaun. The two cities have, let's call a strained relationship with one another, with Zaunites all thinking that topsiders are stuck-up snobs who have never had to work a day in their lives for anything, and on the other hand, people from Piltover assume that all members of the Undercity are shady, low-life thieves. The series features a multitude of characters that longtime players of the game will recognize immediately, with the main characters being Vi, who players will know as the Piltovan Enforcer, and Powder, who will grow up to become the Loose Cannon Jinx. Additional characters from the game can be seen throughout the show, including Jace, Victor, Heimerdinger, and Echo. Though I believe there are at least 3 other champions that we've already met, one of which was actually confirmed by the series subtitles. Singed, the Mad Chemist. We see him before he's become disfigured. He's been working for the main antagonist of the series, Silco. And Singed being confirmed is actually very important to the plausibility of the other 2 potential champions. We see in the series that Singed has developed a kind of chemical drug for Silco, called Shimmer. We see its initial demonstration as a cat is placed into a container with a rat, who then consumes the drug. We don't get to see the effects of the experiment directly, but we do get to see the aftermath. The container where the animals were placed is now cracked and bloodied. Now, remember what I said in the intro about a mutant rat with a crossbow? Everyone, I believe that we just witnessed the creation of Twitch the Plague Rat. Notice the color of the eyes in the character's splash art? Purple. Just like the chemicals that the rodent consumed before the transformation. The final character I want to take a look at is the one I want to focus on the most. Warwick, the Wrath of Zaun. A werewolf-type monster affixed with chemically powered augments on his right arm and back. Now you would think that a half-wolf man would be pretty easy to spot in this series, but already we've seen Discount Darth Vader, a fishman, some magical gnome-like creatures called Yordles. Now, I believe that we've seen Warwick already, and not in some obscure background or in a book or poster, but I believe we've seen him before he transformed into a monster. According to the short stories that were written about every League of Legends champion, we know that Warwick didn't start out as a monster. He was originally a man, before becoming the subject of some brutal experiments by the mad chemist Singed. After his transformation, he escapes and then hunts the streets of Zaun, killing criminals. I suspect that that man is none other than Zander, the main character's adoptive father. There's actually a surprising amount of evidence to back this theory up. First of all, we know that he's no stranger to violence, being shown in the cold open of the series, beating a Piltovan Enforcer to death with his gauntlets. The next time we see Zander on screen, he is shown dealing with traders who are attempting to undercut a sale in his bar. He steps in and the traders recognize him immediately. They refer to him as the Hound of the Underground. Interesting title for a man who runs a bar. Next, look at his character design. You see this wrap he wears on his right arm? The same kind of asymmetrical design that we see on Warwick. Coincidence? Maybe. But it's an interesting detail I actually only noticed while gathering information for this theory. The last piece of evidence from the show itself comes in episode 3, after Zander has been captured by Silco. Zander is referred to as a lapdog for his complacency with how Piltover treats Zaun. He having gone so far as to have a deal with the Enforcers to help keep Zaunites out of Piltover. And lastly, Silco, in response to Vander claiming he isn't a violent man anymore, tells him, "I'll show you what you really are." Towards the end of the episode, things go from bad to worse, as Vander is forced to make a difficult choice in taking Shimmer in order to save his family as the facility he's in goes up in flames. The result is him becoming a monster of a man. He quickly attacks the Shimmer-fueled associate of Silco, attacking Vi, killing him with a snap of the neck, all the while growling like an animal. As the building explodes, he picks up Vi and tosses himself out the window, seemingly perishing shortly after, just as Powder walks into the shot. Though I don't believe Vander has died just then. I think that after the events of this episode, I think he's been taken in to become the subject of the twisted experiments of Singed, and becoming the monster Warwick. Don't believe me? Well, I've saved the most compelling evidence for last. In the game League of Legends, there's a multitude of voice lines for every character. Some of them are general, and others are much more specific, pertaining to other champions. Wouldn't you know it, Warwick has some very interesting lines involving both Jinx and Vi.
You were there. Let me forget. So needed you. The fear in your eyes, I've seen it before. Who taught you how to punch?
Taking all of this into account, I feel like there's a strong case for us to see Vander again before the series ends on the 20th. Though he might look a bit different than we're used to seeing him. There's plenty of other things to theorize about in the meantime. I've got some thoughts about that owl mask person on the hoverboard. Actually, you know what? It's Echo. I think it's Echo. The gang members all have the Hourglass Z on them, and he disappeared after Act 1 and no one else did, so there's a bonus one for you. I also have some thoughts about Mel and a champion that she could possibly be related to, if not be directly. But that's a theory for another day. Thank you to anyone who watched. Hopefully you enjoyed yourself. Thank you to Necrit, who pointed out a couple of things that I missed, specifically about Twitch. And thank you to MatPat and the whole Team Theorist, who actually were the inspiration for me to make this video. Thanks again, and just remember, I'm always here if you need me.